Hey guys, welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Let's carry on where we left off. It's episode 4, The Adventure of the Clouded Kokoro. We live to practice law another day here in Great Britain.
I begin to think, Wilson, said Sholmes, turning his head languidly in my direction, that there is more to this case than that which we have observed.
How is he speaking with Dr. Wilson? Does he have a Ouija board or something?
That there may be another part to this story that we are yet to discover.
Is he speaking to a picture of him?
His eyes
maybe
wandered, following the steam rising from his cup of herbal tea, leading him to the distant memory of that snowy evening.
Oh my, who is this?
To the young lady collapsed on the pavement along Briar Road, and to the knife in her back. Lit in the soft glow of gas lamps, a most extraordinary scene had been set. And under the cover of a light fog, the curtain had risen silently on the insoluble mystery of our invisible killer.
Ooh. I have to say, I do love the setups of these. I just need to understand where Dr. Wilson comes into it all. It's the 19th of February, 9:47 a.m., British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice's office. Here we are, even though, we have some unresolved issues from the previous trial. We did secure a not guilty verdict, so we are allowed to stay here in Great Britain, continue to study law. Did you sleep last night, Mr. Naruhodo? No, not at all. Funny you're asking me after we're here at the Lord Chief Justice's office, you know? You could have asked me when we were getting dressed, when we were leaving the hotel. It was an enormous hotel, wasn't it? The rooms were so luxurious. I felt like we were staying in a palace. And with all the gas lights twinkling, it was brighter than day even in the middle of the night. What about the enormous bet? After my time on the SS Bury, I wasn't going to waste a single inch of that space. I had spent the entire night rolling from one side of the mattress to the other. I was making snow angels on it, or without the snow. Like sheet angels. Oh yes, it really was the sort of night you can only dream of normally. Except when I learned that we owed £3 for the rooms. That dream quickly turned into a nightmare. Oh. Oops. Sorry about that. You know, the building was so impressive and the entrance so inviting, I just wandered in without thinking. In a lodging house in Japan, that sum of money would put a roof over your head for a whole year. I did try, but I'm afraid I couldn't help my tears when we were presented with the bill. I'm sorry, you know. But it's okay, Susato. I mean, like, you know, we started off from the bottom, with Mr. McGill literally only flicking a coin in my eye, you know, and that still hurts even this morning. But as we start securing clients, you know, and we start defending the undefendable, we're going to be raking in the guineas. We're going to be swimming in it, okay? Not actual guineas that are animals, but the money itself. We're going to be Scrooge McDuck. I really am sorry. I promise you, you're going to be fine. You're going to be the best judicial assistant. I'm going to be the best lawyer. You know, we'll have Sholmes on as a private detective, maybe. But never mind. We must find some more affordable lodging straight away, though. What, is our budget in this book as well? Everything's in here. If we're not careful, our entire stipend will be used up in 10 days or less. Not unless I start, you know, raking in the money. You know, Naruhodo and Associates. Ugh, London is a scary place. Good morning to you at this early hour. Lord Strongheart. That is Lord Strongheart. Oh, yes, well, yeah. Morning. Good morning to you, Lord Chief Justice. We've come to report on the outcome of the trial at the Old Bailey yesterday. Susato-san is amazing. She doesn't bat an eyelid, even in the presence of the imposing Lord Strongheart. That's why she'll make a valuable receptionist at my new office, Naruhodo and Associates. Yes, I believe you had a comprehensive initiation into British courtroom practices. Oh, yes. It was very eye-opening. Thank you. Luckily we had the Susato's book to help us. And, in accordance with your instructions, Lord Strongheart, Mr. Naruhodo performed his duty to the end. The literal end. Probably the end of someone's life, considering someone was trapped in the carriage that was set ablaze in the courtroom yesterday. We still don't know who it was, in fact. And, well, there's been no mention of it. We're going straight into a new murder of a woman who's been backstabbed on Briar Road, it seems. Yes, I've already been apprised of events. I imagine you would be. You conducted a remarkable defense. You may consider the test passed. Oh, okay, so it was not a test of character as I suspected. It was a literal test of can you get a not guilty verdict. Oh, no longer are you a student from the Empire of Japan. You may henceforth claim to be a fully fledged lawyer. My country is delighted to welcome young talent from such a remote eastern land. Well, the pleasure is all mine. Thank you very much. So, I'm a lawyer now. I made it! Now, in view of your new appointment, I have a fresh case in mind for you. I'd like you to take it on at once. I trust that won't be a problem. Another case? Already? Damn, man. We're already swimming in cases. Nothing trains a lawyer better than practical experience. I'm sure. I don't sense dissatisfaction, do I? It's just that yesterday's trial ended unusually. I haven't quite come to terms with it. I mean, you know, unusual for me. I don't know if this is a regular thing here in Great Britain, the spectacle of it all. I mean, for all I know, it could be, and it's just my ignorant Eastern self. We don't have this kind of drama in Japan, though. I mean, not normally. That was also unusual when I was on trial. Anyway, what's to come to terms with? The man was cleared. What more were you hoping for? Answers, basically. I mean, not that I should be saying this out loud, but I was kind of hoping for a guilty verdict, even though I'm the defense attorney, you know? He just seemed incredibly suspicious. The culpability of the defendant has not, at the present time, been established by this court. Consequently, the jury will not be required to proffer judgment. Well, Lord Van Zeeks, it's been a pleasure, so it has. And as for you, my dear fella, I couldn't have asked for a better defense. Yeah, okay, thanks for the snarky attitude. And of course, he breaks into a cackle. Oh, that got the court riled up. I just can't help wondering if Mr. McGilded really was innocent. Again, I shouldn't be mentioning this out loud. Mr. Naruhodo, it's just that I never managed to ascertain the truth, that's all, you know? And then the trial ended, just like that. Well, you didn't let it trouble you for a second longer. Sorry? What do you mean, Lord Strongheart? He's your previous client. Move on with your life already. You've got a new one now. Magnus McGilded passed away immediately following the trial. What? He was the one that was locked up in the carriage? Are you serious? No. What? Mr. McGilded is... I won't lie, I thought he was going to be like a recurring villain that we'd need to prosecute basically at the final case of the game. Dead? May he rest in peace, I suppose those doves are trying to say. Or we just scared him off. I have 19 minutes and 41 seconds until my next engagement. Time enough to talk. Well, thank you for lending me your 19 minutes and 40 or so seconds. Okay, wow. McGilded did, huh? Jeez, oh man. What the hell happened there? I can picture, like, having to defend Lord Van Zeeks because, you know, prosecutors somehow always get involved with cases as either defendants or witnesses. We've seen with Blackquill, we've seen with Edgewood, Godot, or maybe Lord Strongheart here could be involved as well. I mean, that's always the case, isn't it? Like, there's always someone high up that's just corrupt. You know, we had Lord Von Karma, sorry, not Lord Von Karma, but he dressed up like a lord. We had Von Karma, we had Godot, we had Damon Gant, and Lana Sky. Obviously, that's extra DLC for the first game. But, you know, there's always someone, like, high up in authority that's corrupt. And I'm scared they're gonna go down this route with Lord Strongheart. I mean, he is an intimidating guy. Looks sinister enough. Like I said before, he reminds me of Damon Gant. Have I got anything to present to him besides my armband? I don't think we need to present that. We've only got 19 minutes. Let's converse McGilded's death. I don't understand. What happened? How could he be dead? After the trial concluded yesterday, there was a great commotion in the Old Bailey. As you'll presumably recall, an omnibus had been wheeled into the courtroom. Yes. Some would call it foolish, others would not, saying it was unpredictable what happened to said omnibus. Yes, of course, that was the scene of the crime which Mr. McGilden had been accused of. Precisely. Well, while the bailiff's attention was diverted by some other matter, the omnibus went up in flames. This bailiff sounds like a right useless piece of shit. Like, twice now he's diverted his attention away from the omnibus and something critical happened to it. No.
How could such a thing have happened?
That is being investigated as we speak, but already. The police have identified a corpse found inside the charred shell of the carriage as that of McGilded. That's awful. The man must have slipped inside whilst the bailiff's attention was elsewhere. That bailiff really needs to pay more attention.
And how could that have happened?
That is also being investigated as we speak. Okay, and no one's been accused of the murder?
Thinking back now. Immediately after the trial, Mr. McGilded did mention going back into the courtroom to look at the omnibus.
Yes, he did mention that. What was he trying to do? Set it ablaze to get rid of the evidence for good and someone locked him inside? Or something else?
Well, I must be making tracks now. Just time for the inspection.
Sorry? What inspection?
They're going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself.
An inspection of the omnibus? Not to my knowledge. I don't believe Scotland Yard had any intention of re-examining the carriage. I did mention in the comments that this all could have been avoided, like at least in prison time, because they would have taken a lot of photographs of the crime scene. That's why they do this, right? To see if there's going to be any tampering or so on and so forth, to preserve the crime scene as it was when the murder basically happened, or at least when they first come upon the scene, to prevent tampering of smearing blood on a skylight or on the floor. Unfortunately, you know, I can imagine the significant cost and time associated with producing numerous photographic prints, as they would have had to have done during these times. But then who was Mr. McGilded talking about? Never mind that now. The Yard is making a thorough investigation. This matter is no longer any concern of yours. Leave it to the police. Oh, okay.
Poor Mr. McGilded.
I mean, we don't know for sure if he's guilty or not. He just... There's a lot of circumstantial evidence saying he was. And now we'll never know. At least for now. British court. So, how did you find your first taste of our country's Supreme Court? Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, I was... Wow. Okay, we technically lost, but then I had to pull out an antiquated law to get myself back on track. Right, Mr. Sato?
Mr. Naruhodo means that the whole experience was steeped in the solemnity of Great Britain's long history.
Wow. Thank you so much. Can you just be my beard? Like, can I just whisper to you what I want you to say and you translate it in a more classy fashion?
It's really a world apart from our own judicial system in Japan, which is only a few short decades old.
Wow, Susato-san has such a way with words.
And you seem to have a way of failing to find the right ones.
And she also has a way of reading my mind. The judicial system here is the most advanced in the world. Learn all you can. Not that I've traveled to any other country in this glorious globe. But I presume ours is the best. The most advanced in the world, is it? Well, they have a jury. That's miles ahead of Japan. It was fortunate that your very first trial was a simple affair. Yeah, very simple, you know, murder in a locked room, and somehow my client was found not guilty.
Simple? That was simple.
As I believe I mentioned yesterday morning, it was a trial you couldn't lose. Because Mr. McGilded was involved, because he would have found a way to avoid the guilty verdict. Interesting.
I don't mean to be contrary, Lord Strongheart, but the case was anything but simple.
So that's what he meant by it was it was impossible to lose. Interesting. The circumstances of the case were so incriminating, I was stunned when I first heard them. In fact, I'm still finding it hard to believe that we managed to get a favorable verdict. Is something funny? No, my apologies. However, the fact is that you did receive the not guilty verdict you set out to achieve. And that could only be attributed to exceptional talent. Wouldn't you agree? Well, I don't know about that. Suspicious. If it was impossible to lose, why give it to us and hang that condition over our heads? You know, like, if you don't get a not guilty verdict, I'm sending you back to Japan. Did he want us? He always wanted us to win. Is that it? For what, though? Out of the goodness of his heart? Or is he trying to set me up for something? I've already been accused of murder twice. Well, never mind. You exceeded my expectations, I freely admit. That much is at least an undeniable truth. Which is precisely why I have prepared the new case for you that I mentioned before. What's going on? What was he going to say before? Alright, hit me with the new case. What's the haps? What's the 411?
Could you perhaps give us some more details about the new case you mentioned?
Don't tell me. It's a murder, and the trial starts in 10 minutes. Don't worry. It's nothing so alarming or quite so urgent as your last assignment. In fact, this case is completely different. Oh, I see. So not murder. Did he just read my mind? Do I just wear my mind on my sleeve? Why does everyone know what I'm thinking? Or am I just talking it out loud by accident? That is to say, no one has died. As yet. Oh. So the woman who got stabbed in her back, she's still alive? Or that hasn't happened yet? And the trial will not be today. There is plenty of time to research the case thoroughly. 23 hours, 43 minutes, and 19 seconds to be precise. So the trial's tomorrow then. It's better than 10 minutes. At least I'll have time to investigate.
Is everything alright?
Oh, yes. I'm just a little confused, that's all. Yesterday's trial was, well, it's left me wondering if I'm really cut out for being a lawyer.
Oh, Mr. Naruhodo.
I don't know if I could face standing in that courtroom again after Miss Gilden's trial. It's like, honestly, it was a bit too much for me. Why can't I just have a simple case? Ah, yes, I nearly forgot. There is one similarity with yesterday's case. An omnibus was involved. Once again, there is currently no one to advocate for the defense. Oh. Well, shit. If the situation remains unchanged, the trial will start tomorrow with the defendant unrepresented. And if that happens, I need not remind you of the inevitable outcome.
The most terrible end awaits the defendant.
Well, you know, we can't even guarantee that for the defendant if they get a not guilty verdict, it seems, because Mr. McGilden got lit up like a candle. Yes, that's right. Here we go again. Okay, so much at stake. Can't handle the pressure. Can I get paid this time, please? Your time is up. You will have to excuse me. I would advise you to begin making preparations for tomorrow's trial. After all, the clock is ever ticking. But of course, there is now but 23 hours, 26 minutes, and 39 seconds until the court sits. Last time you mentioned the 23 hours, he said there was plenty of time. And one more thing, Mr. Naruhodo. There is something I should like to ask you. Oh, what's that? Yesterday, you remarked upon something. I did. That you intend to see through the will of your late compatriot, Mr. Asogi. Why are you bringing him up? He's right here in my sword. Do you want to speak to him? I would be interested to hear what exactly you mean by that. Inside 34 seconds. Shit. Okay, pressure's on. He never told me. Oh, well, Kazuma always used to say, yeah, the late Kazuma Sugi. Oh, man. He always used to say, you see, shit, I'm running out of time. That he wanted to learn how the greatest justice system in the world worked so he could change ours in Japan, you know, for justice. Now that he's gone, I'd like to work towards that myself. And there's another thing. Oh. another thing. Continue. On the way here, on the steamship, he said something to me. There's something very important that I have to do. Something very important. And what exactly would that be? Take you down, Lord Strongheart! I know you're up to something. He never had a chance to tell me. I suppose he would have done if he had ever made it to. You're out of time. Well, thank you for an enlightening discussion. Okay, well, he stuck to it, you know. He wouldn't wait. Well, he wouldn't give me an extra 10 seconds.
Mr. Naruhodo, what's this all about? Mr. Sogi never once mentioned anything of the sort to me.
I urge you both to focus your attentions on the matter at hand. You know, for all I know, he just wanted to try a freaking British burger, okay? Maybe that's why he didn't mention it to Susato. How do we know it had anything to do with law? I've taken the liberty of summoning the police inspector in charge of the case. Oh. He was in the cutscene previously. Is that Inspector Lestrade? He'll be able to apprise you of the details. How long has he been there? Was he hiding in that suit of armor? So, I wish you the best of luck, and bid you farewell. Okay, well, he doesn't seem to be spending much time in his office, does he?
There's something very important that I have to do. Kazuma-sama, what do you mean?
I wish I knew. But honestly, he never told me. Again, like I said, for all I know, he wanted some wedges, which is what that inspector standing over there has in his hand. Anyway, we'd better talk to the detective, don't you think? At least it's not Herlock Sholmes here.
Yes, you're right.
I hope I'm just imagining it, but I wouldn't say he looks pleased to see us at all. Well, howdy. Nice to meet you. Could we trouble you? Is that your breakfast? What do you think? Lovely weather, isn't it? What's the weather got to do with anything? Listen to me, you young Japanese upstart. Some frippery about the weather doesn't get every English gent eaten out of your hand, you know. But Susato-san told me it was foolproof. Damn it. I'm a busy man. A very busy man. There's a crime scene to investigate, but I'm here to give the likes of you a talking to. Oh, I'm ever so sorry. Can you imagine what the other officers there will be saying? Haven't seen Gregson anywhere, have you? No, he's too busy with the bigwigs these days. Oh, Gregson. Okay. And all because of some bumpkin who's here on a jaunt from a country I've never even heard of. Hear that trumpet sound? That's my reputation at the yard going to tatters. While you're eating taters, there's no need to rip us apart as well.
I don't believe we've been introduced. This is Mr. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, a defense lawyer.
Huh?
It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, Sue...
Oh.
It's lovely weather we're having today, isn't it?
It is unseasonably fine, I grant you. London winters don't see a lot of sunshine. Unbelievable! How did she pull that off? Because she speaks with confidence. Ryunosuke? So, Lord Strongheart has asked me to fill you in on the case. I need to settle on voices for these guys. I really need to commit. I'm always, like, going everywhere. I mean, it's hard when there's 6 jurors, a prosecutor, witnesses, and a judge. But, you know, surely Gregson over here, Inspector Gregson, is going to be a recurring character, so I need to lock down some of these voices that are different from one another, mind you. The name's Tobias Gregson. Inspector Gregson to you. I'm from Scotland Yard.
Gregson? Inspector Gregson? What's the matter with Susato-san?
Does this detective's name mean something to her? Don't tell me he's part of Herlock Sholmes' adventures. Inspector Gregson.
Inspector, are you perhaps the Inspector Gregson?
You're acting like you know this man, Mr. Sato. But he's a London detective. We've only been here a day.
Oh, I do know him. Very well, in fact.
Very well?
Yes, he features prominently in the adventures of Herlock Sholmes.
Oh, in that publication. What's it called again? Ranced magazine?
That's right. Inspector Gregson and Mr. Sholmes enjoy a wonderful friendly rivalry.
Really? You rival the great Mr. Sholmes. That's incredible. Oh, well, I don't know about that. Mr. Sholmes isn't a professional like myself, of course, but he does come up with the goods from time to time.
Mr. Sholmes is equally complimentary about you, Inspector, isn't he? You've earned his highest praise. Oh, Gregson is the pick of a bad lot of all of the Scotland Yarders. Those were his own words.
That's his highest praise. It is a familiar phrase.
Well, Mr. Sholmes isn't particularly known for giving compliments, you see.
That he is not, and thanks to that magazine, my name's known all over London town now.
That's great, isn't it?
I have to admit that to start with I was a little, well, flattered by all the attention. Everyone wanted to shake my hand, and my reputation at the Yard went through the roof. Well, that's wonderful. No, it is not. There's nothing more sinister than the man on the street. People are always looking at me now. They're whispering rumors about me under their breath, I'm sure.
Rumors? Are you quite sure?
He's changed since he started appearing in those stories. The fame's gone to his head. Stuff like that. Yeah, that sounds familiar too.
Gosh, do you really think people are saying such mean-spirited things about you?
Like I said, they whisper, so I can't catch exactly what they're saying, but I know what folk are like. I'm sure that's what they're saying. As sure as eggs is eggs.
Okay. Yeah.
I get the feeling this detective could be very hard work. Harder work than Sherlock Sholmes? I don't know about that, though, Ryunosuke.
Oh dear. Perhaps the sudden rise to fame does change people.
Don't start rumors now, right in front of his face. The case. Please, inform us. So, about the case that the Lord Chief Justice mentioned before. Nothing to tell, really. As far as we're concerned at the Yard, it couldn't be simpler.
Oh dear. That probably means, as far as we're concerned as lawyers, it couldn't be more complicated.
Yeah, that's a good point. I wish you were wrong about that, but I have a nasty feeling you're right. A young woman was walking along the pavement on Briar Road when she was stabbed from behind. Fortunately, it wasn't fatal, but she's still laid up in hospital unconscious.
That's despicable! What sort of coward would attack the poor woman from behind?
Suppose you'd have finished whoever it was off with a Susato takedown, would you?
That's neither here nor there, Mr. Naruhodo. Watch as I do a Susato takedown right now.
Brace yourself, Ryunosuke. You've angered her now. Arms up in defense. Anyway, after something of a whirlwind investigation, the criminal was arrested. He barely had time for a cup of tea after the incident took place, to be honest. Why the hell was he drinking tea after stabbing a woman in the back? So, there must have been something left at the scene that led you directly to the culprit?
Or perhaps a reliable witness who recognized the person in question.
Let me stop you right there. You're wasting your time on this one.
Sorry?
There's nothing you can do. There's no way that you can help the bloke now.
Why ever not?
Simple. The prosecutor that's been assigned to the trial tomorrow is Lord Baroque Van Zeeks. Yeah, well, I've beaten him before.
No.
Sounds like you've heard of him, then.
Oh, yes, we are very familiar with Lord Van Zeeks.
Is he looking to rebound from yesterday's loss by taking up a simple case?
Believed to be the harbinger of death itself.
The Reaper of the Bailey. Well, he certainly got his soul yesterday, even though he lost. Reaper of the Bailey. I mean, that's a pretty neat title, wouldn't you agree?
Lord Baroque Van Zeeks, who we faced in court only yesterday. Mr. McGilder told us about him before the trial, didn't he?
That he did. When Van Zeeks stands for the prosecution, they call the accused the sacrificial lambs.
And in every single trial in which he's been the prosecutor, the accused has been damned.
This Reaper of the Bailey nickname. I suppose he's earned that because every defendant he advocates against is found guilty, is that it? Does that mean I'm gonna be the guardian angel?
Well, if that's the case, we should inform you, Inspector, that in yesterday's trial against Lord Van Zeeks, Mr. Naruhodo secured a verdict of not guilty.
And what of it?
Oh, well, I think that's pretty rad. That means that even against the Reaper of the Bailey, it's not impossible to save the defendant.
Did we save him, though? No, you really don't have a clue, do you?
What do you mean?
What happened to that bloke in the end, eh? He's dead. Magnus McGilded came a cropper on that omnibus when it went up in flames. So you can't rightly say you saved the defendant, can you? We saved him from one fate. It's his fault he got involved in another, okay? What are you saying? Look, if Van Zeeks could get the dirt to stick on everyone, he'd be a miracle worker. But that's not how it goes. He doesn't work miracles, he works magic. Black magic. Hey, that's what I was accused of, yes, sir. I'd have a good long think about that if I were you. Are we really supposed to believe that? I mean, the guy looks like a vampire. So, who knows? Whew. Right, well, I filled you in as requested, and I'm very nearly out of chips. So I'll be heading back to the crime scene now. We're still carrying out a few investigations there.
It was Briar Road, you said, didn't you? Where the incident took place.
That's correct, ma'am. And if you head over to the holding cells, you can meet the criminal himself. You branded him a criminal already? Well, he's a suspect. He's as good as. Shaking like a leaf in his cell he is. He'll give you a chuckle if nothing else. He's inmate 53. Speak to the jailer and he'll show you the way. Inmate 53. Okay, thank you. Well, so there's no helping anyone against the Reaper of the Bailey, they say.
Something troubling you, Mr. Naruhodo? To tell the truth, when I recall the trial yesterday, I can't stop myself from shaking. The idea of facing the Reaper in court again is... Well, if you think it's too much for you, there's no shame in turning the case down. That takes courage too.
But no one can defend this guy. We have to be that person. But if the man they've arrested is innocent, you could well imagine he would be shaking like a leaf in a cell. And I, for one, wouldn't find the sight of that funny. Damn, Ryunosuke, I like that.
So,
if I'm honest, I'm still reeling from the shock of yesterday's events myself. And I'm really not sure if I'll be able to help this man, whoever he is. But I'd like to try. So I think I'm going to make some inquiries. Will you help?
I was hoping you'd say that. Did you really think you had to ask? After all, I am your judicial assistant.
Thank you. So then, shall we?
Yes! Let's go!
Oh, man. I love Susato as his assistant. She's got good energy, you know? Reminds me of Maya. Okay, let's move. Briar Road or the prison? Let's meet our client first. How about that? These prison cells are where suspects are held whilst they await trial. Visiting is permitted at certain times. Wow. Okay. This is a far cry from the detention center of the future. 19th of February, local prison, cell 9. So these are British prison cells.
Oh, they're ghastly. Feels just like a dungeon.
Yes. And having experienced it in Japan myself, I can assure you that our wooden cells feel a lot cozier than these cold stone walls.
Oh, don't, Mr. Naruhodo. You're making it seem worse.
Apparently, our client is in this cell here. But it's so dark at the back there, I can't make him out. I wonder what he's like. Inmate 53, your legal representative is here to see you. Stop hiding at the back of the cell and show your face at once.
Am I a cat? As yet with no name? Calling me by number? It's utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable. I refuse to answer.
Wow, okay.
Mr. Naruhodo, what? What do you think is going on here?
I have no idea, but I wasn't just hearing things, was I? That tirade of complaints was in Japanese. Wait, what? Oh my god. Don't tell me. Don't tell me it's Hosonaga or something. Okay. It's not Hosonaga. Who are you? Maybe that's why Gregson is not happy to see us. Excuse me, but who? Shh! Quiet! You okay? You seem very paranoid.
They're all around. Hiding. I know they are. They're watching. Listening. Even now. I can sense it. Right, so, could I ask you who exactly? There you are! You've come to curse me, haven't you? Don't try to hide it, you're a ghost!
A ghost?
You know, spirit of justice? Oh no, never mind, that's a different game.
Wow, he is very fidgety.
We mean you no harm, prisoner-san. Are you Japanese by any chance?
Huh? This is beyond my wildest dreams. Oh no. Are you okay?
Forgive me for that outburst before. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's fine. We were just a little surprised. That's all.
Imagine it! It's been 12 long months since I've left my hometown, and here I am, in a frightful fix in a foreign land. So hearing the sweet, sentimental tones of a compatriot's voice here in this damp, dark hellhole was a most monumentally moving moment.
Wow. Alright. Who could have guessed that this new client Lord Strongheart assigned to us would turn out to be a fellow Japanese?
Oh, what compassion my fellow countrymen show. To dispatch a first-class lawyer all the way from Japan to defend a mere foreign student.
Yes, the embassy sent me. You're welcome. You don't happen to have a lot of money.
Noble, nurturing, never-failing Nippon.
You don't happen to have a lot of money to pay for my services, do you? Because I'd really like to stay at that hotel like another night. They have large mattresses. Bigger than yours, but I won't brag about that right now. A first-class lawyer? Oh dear, I think there's been something of a misunderstanding here.
I wonder, would you be so kind as to tell us what's happened? Why you've been detained as a suspect, for example? Yes, I can, I will! Shan't stay sullen and silent.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure I understand what he means, but he must have discovered alliteration. He seems happy.
Yes, he does. I just hope he actually has a good reason to be. He's stuck in a shitty-ass cell. Thank you for cooperation. I'm a lawyer, as you said. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
And I'm Naruhodo-san's judicial assistant, Susato Mikotoba. I am a visiting student sent here by our government. Notably, notoriously named Natsume! Soseki Natsume!
Soseki Natsume. Okay, well, there's proof that I'm a lawyer. It's my armband. I should probably stop zooming in and just present the thing.
Yes! The symbol of one of our great empire's first-rate lawyers. Which means, of course, you'll stand by my side. You'll defend me.
Oh, no, sorry. That wasn't why I was showing it to you. I was just... I've been basically appointed lawyer today. For the first time. I made it.
Oh. Then why else would you show me that?
Oops. In hindsight, that probably wasn't the best idea. Okay, let's talk. Soseki Natsume. Soseki Natsume-san? What an unusual name.
Call me Soseki, please. I'm a poet, you see. A writer of haiku. It's something of a nom de plume.
A nom de plume? You mean an alias?
That's right, Naruhodo-san.
I wouldn't even need to pull out your book to figure that out.
No, don't be so prosaic. It's much more refined than that.
And haiku? That really reminds me of home.
Did I hear you say that you were a visiting student sent over here by the government? Yes, that's right. A year ago I was told to go and study English. First I had to suffer that misery, and now this! It's beyond the pale!
Suffer that misery? Did you not want to study here?
No, I mean, I've had an interest in Great Britain for some years, of course.
Oh.
But just because the government tells you to do something doesn't mean you can do it? No! What do you mean? If they'd told me to study English literature, that I could have understood. That's my field. But no, they told me to study the English language. Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable!
Okay, I see.
Only the other day I was told to send a report about my first year here. I tendered a blank piece of paper. Wise words on white washi. You must be a man of great standing. Oh yes, so I'm often told.
And often like to be told, it seems. Right, well, now we know who you are. The accusation against you, please inform us in your own fabulous words.
Could you perhaps tell us exactly why you've been arrested, Soseki-san? I didn't do it. I didn't commit that atrocious murder.
Murder?
Oh, no, it's not. It's alright. The woman didn't actually die, did she? But she was stabbed with a knife right before my eyes.
Before your eyes? You mean you saw the attacker? You didn't actually stab her in the back?
Oh. I didn't see anyone.
What? You can't just change it now. What?
If I'd seen the person who did it, do you think I'd be locked up in here?
I mean, yeah, probably. You seem very... well, you know, not calm.
Oh dear. It seems this case is becoming rather complicated. Why me? Why me? Why did that silly woman have to be stabbed in front of me? It's the curse of London. It's incredibly, inexcusably, irritatingly inconvenient.
So Soseki-san was there at the scene, but he didn't see the attacker.
It's vital that we find out more about the case.
Right. About the case, please.
It was an accursed evening, just after the snow had started to clear and heavy with fog. I'd been to the bookshop to buy some books, and I was on my way back to my accursed lodgings.
Sure the bookshop wasn't accursed too.
As I was walking along that accursed pavement, I could make out the sole silhouette of another ahead of me, another person. A woman wearing a green overcoat she was, and just as I went to overtake her, she suddenly let out a little scream and collapsed onto the cold, hard slabs of stone at my feet.
Oh, she seems like a short, plump woman. A lot of books on the ground. Stab wound, no blood. Oh, There's snow on the ground. Oh dear, he is shaking.
How terrible. I called out to the woman, but she didn't move. It was like a ghostly, ghoulish, grim graveyard.
Slight exaggeration there, perhaps, because there was only one person there and she wasn't even dead.
I was terrified. I had to get away from there. So I ran, as fast as my legs would carry me back to my accursed lodgings.
That's not good.
They'll say it was shameful, I know, to run away like that. Tell me, Soseki-san, was the victim an acquaintance of yours? Don't be ridiculous! Do you think I know any of these fair-haired English? And a young woman at that? I'm diffident, shy, timid, unsure. I can't talk to people.
Yeah, that we gathered that. I see. A young woman unknown to Soseki-san. At the time it happened, who else did you see nearby? Did anybody pass you?
Regrettably, apart from myself and the woman, I didn't see a soul.
No one. Great.
So the victim was unknown to you, and there was nobody else on the street at the time. That creates something of a conundrum, doesn't it?
What conundrum? The conundrum. Please, enlighten us. What do you mean, Sato-san? What's the conundrum?
Well, if what Soseki-san has just told us is true, there's something I can't explain. He says that he didn't know the victim, and that there was no one else at the scene. Then he apparently fled without having been seen.
So how do they know he was the culprit?
I did!
But if that's the case, surely this man has to be the culprit. Ah, you! What did you just say? I knew it. I've been speaking my thoughts out loud. Nothing. I didn't say anything. Oops. Perhaps I thought that a little loudly.
Actually, that's not what was troubling me. What I was thinking was, how did Saseki-san actually come to be arrested?
Exactly. Who fingered him? I mean, who pointed the finger at him? Should be saying that when we're in the jail cells. Sorry?
He didn't touch the victim, and there was nobody at the scene to see him. So how did the police ever discover that he was there in the first place?
Oh, yes, she's right.
It was him. That accursed great detective. He led the police to me.
Oh no, it was Sherlock Sholmes, son of a bitch.
Of all the bad luck.
Accursed great detective? Could it be?
I shall never forget that man's name as long as I live. With his haughty laugh and his self-proclaimed greatness. Brash, big-headed, busybody be gone. May you be cursed until the end of your days, Sherlock Sholmes.
That laughing sprite of his. I knew it! God.
Mr. Sholmes.
His theme song, even. Sherlock Sholmes. He's not German, mind you. Well, I didn't expect to hear that name from this man's lips, that's for sure.
It was the morning after that nightmare had unfolded on the pavement before me. I was gnawing on a silver of hard cheese when some men suddenly burst in through the door. They started shouting at me, "This is the police, put the weapon down."
I thought they said he didn't even have time to have a cup of tea. Sounds like they came the next morning.
Yes, it was a thin silver, and yes, it was hard, but I wasn't eating a weapon. Disgusting dietary discrimination devils!
You clearly had a trying morning yesterday.
And there he was, in the middle of all the policemen, grinning like a Cheshire cat. That Sherlock Sholmes!
It's actually just a Sherlock Sholmes. He's English.
I've since found out he's a famous name in detection here in London. Yes, the great detective is really very well known. And his overly sharp mind managed to deduce my whereabouts, apparently. He thinks I'm the knife-wielding madman, me! This weak, stooped kitten of a man.
I wonder what great deduction process led him to this conclusion this time.
Do you mean to say that Mr. Sholmes' deduction was the only reason the police arrested you? That would be really most unreasonable. The thing is, I was thrown into a panic when they barged their way in. Of course you were. That's only natural. I was terrified and trembling, and they kept throwing question after question at me, in impossible English. Fiendish, foreign, flammery.
Well, we are in England. You can't really blame them for questioning you in English.
Good point. But my mind went blank. I knew I had to answer, but I didn't know what to say. So I just kept repeating things like, yes I do, and I'm fine. The next thing I knew, I was in manacles. Before I knew it, I was thrown in here. Oh dear. I'm afraid that's hardly surprising.
You know, if you didn't know what you were agreeing to, for all we know, you confessed to the murder unknowingly. I'm fine. He's not fine now. What are you, Apollo Justice? You got your cords of steel working against you?
Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire.
Oh, you can just call me Naruhodo. And when we're speaking English, a simple mister is more than enough.
Oh, yes. Alright, yes. They really got to me. This country is poisoning my mind. But please, I beg you to defend me in court tomorrow. You can tell them what really happened. You'll do it, won't you?
Well, yeah.
Why? Why is it so hard to say yes to me? Well, the thing is, I'm just a student like yourself on a study tour. We can be students helping students. A student?
I've defended a case in the Old Bailey. Oh, only the one, though. But at this moment in time, I really don't know what I'm supposed to be to believe in. I'm confused about what justice in this country even means.
Oh, Naruhodo-san.
Oh man, I feel like I need to have a sit down with Susato and just talk things through. Probably not in front of my client. I'm not even the foreign student who was supposed to be here. I'm a sort of locum lawyer, I suppose.
But that armband, that's the mark of a defense lawyer from our great empire.
It's a keepsake from the man who should have been here. He was my best friend.
A keepsake?
Oh, this music. Damn. I'm liking the conflict, the inner conflict Ryunosuke's having. Like, I don't know if I could do this. I really, really don't know if I could do this. Yes, we've defended ourselves. We defended ourselves again and found the true culprit. We even defended our client. Of course, we didn't know if that's the right thing to do. We don't have the confidence of Kazuma, right? He would have been able to go through all this no problem. Even though, yeah, he faltered a little bit during the first case when things seemed dire, and we never did. Well, I mean, like, we did, but internally, we never gave up. But you could just kind of help but wonder, like, Kazuma would be probably handling this like a pro.
I know exactly what they're saying about me. Oh, who do you mean? The lawyers. All the British defense lawyers. They won't defend me. Goodness. Why'd you say that? For the same reason as you noted before. When it happened, there was only the victim and myself around, and I ran away from the scene of the crime. I'm not a fool. I know it looks as though I must be the culprit.
It must be very hard for you, Soseki-san.
And anyway, I'm a student from overseas. I'm just a foreign nobody to them, someone not to be trusted. I heard them openly laughing about me before. In my earshot, without any compunction at all. Any trial for this man would be a waste of time, they said. And of course the foreigner did it.
Yeah, that does sound unfortunate. And pragmatic for them.
They even had the gall to say the man doesn't understand half of what's being said anyway.
That's awful.
They're wrong! I've studied more English than half of the policemen out there on the streets. I've traveled halfway around the world to learn about these people's country and its great history. But no one here wants to listen to a man with a strange accent. They all hate me. So, at the very least, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who can listen to me in my native tongue.
Dude, I got you. I got you. This is why I'm a lawyer. To defend those who won't be represented. Who don't have a voice.
You could do it, couldn't you? When I look into your eyes, I can see it. I can see what you've been through.
Soseki-san,
it's just that.
Give me a little time. Please. I'll do what I can. For the time being.
What do you mean? We shall investigate the case as thoroughly as possible. If we can find some clues, it'll give us a much better chance, I'm sure. Oh, yes, thank you. I'll be here all alone, waiting for you. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire. We should be going then, Naruhodo-san. We have a case to prepare for.
That we do, Mr. Sato, that we do. Alright, let's go visit the crime scene and clear Soseki-san's name.